The great space station called Nexus Prime floated in the dark space between stars. It was bigger than most moons and shined with lights from 100 different worlds. Inside its metal walls, the most important meeting in galaxy history was about to begin. Dr. Kwan walked through the long hallways with his 8-year-old daughter, Nari, beside him. His shoes made soft sounds on the smooth floor. Nara's small hand held tight to his bigger one as she looked up at the tall ceiling with wide eyes. "Papa, why is everything so big here?" Nari asked in her soft voice. "Because many different people from many different worlds come here," Dr. Kwan said. "Some are much bigger than humans." Nari nodded, but did not really understand. She had never seen aliens before. On Earth, she only knew humans and the family cat. They walked into a huge round room. The walls were made of clear glass that showed the stars outside. In the center of the room sat something that made Nari stop walking. It was a crystal thing as tall as her papa. It had many sides and corners, and colors moved inside it like water. Sometimes it was blue, sometimes red, sometimes colors she had no names for. "What is that pretty thing, Papa?" Nuri whispered. "That is why we are here," Dr. Kwan said. "It is called the Vorthok cipher. It is a puzzle that no one can solve." Around the crystal thing, many strange beings sat in chairs. Some looked like giant bugs with too many eyes. Some were made of light that hurt to look at. Some looked like walking rocks with faces. They all stared at the crystal and talked in voices that sounded angry. Dr. Kwan led Nari to 2 small chairs near the back. The chairs were made for humans and looked tiny next to the big alien chairs. A voice spoke from the ceiling. It sounded like metal rubbing together. The 10,847th meeting of the Galactic Council will now begin. Today, we discuss the Vorthok cipher, as we have for the past 10,000 years. One of the bug-like aliens stood up. It had 6 arms and eyes that moved in different directions. When it talked, its voice sounded like clicking sounds. "I am Vex, prime calculator of the Threx people," the bug alien said. "My quantum computers have tried 847 billion different ways to solve this puzzle. All have failed. The Vorthok cipher cannot be solved by logic." A being made of bright light floated up from its chair. It had no real shape, just light that moved. Like smoke, its voice sounded like music played too fast. "I am Brightpath of the Luminor," it said. "Our combined minds think as one. We are millions of thoughts working together. But even we cannot understand this puzzle. It makes no sense." A tall rock-like being slowly stood up. It moved like old tree branches in wind. Small lights blinked inside its stone body. Its voice was deep and slow. "I am Stonesinger, elder of the Rokoth," it said. "We have lived for millions of years. Our crystal minds can solve any problem. But this puzzle, it does not follow any rules we know." More aliens spoke. Each one told the same story. They were smart. They were old. They had great machines and minds that could think faster than light. But none could solve the puzzle. Dr. Kwan stood up when it was his turn. He looked very small next to the aliens. "I am Dr. Kwan from Earth," he said. "Humans are new to space. We do not have quantum computers or shared minds or crystal thoughts, but we would like to try." Some aliens made sounds that might have been laughing. The bug alien Vex clicked its mouth parts. "Humans," Vex said. "Your whole species is only 300,000 years old. You learned to make fire yesterday. What can you do that we cannot?" Dr. Kwan's face turned red, but he sat down without saying more. Nari had been watching the crystal thing the whole time. She did not understand the big words the aliens used, but she noticed something. Every time an alien touched the crystal, it seemed to pull away. The colors inside became darker. It looked ... sad. "Papa," she whispered. The pretty crystal looked scared of the bug people. "She Nari," Dr. Kwan said. "Adults are talking." But Nari kept watching. She saw how the crystal's colors changed when different aliens came near. With the bug aliens, it turned gray. With the light beings, it flickered like a broken lamp. With the rock people, it became very still. The meeting went on for hours. Alien after alien stood up and explained why the puzzle could not be solved. They used big words that Nari did not know. They showed pictures of numbers and shapes that hurt her head to look at. Finally, the metal voice from the ceiling spoke. Again, This meeting is now finished. We will try again tomorrow, as we have tried for 10,000 years. The aliens began to leave. They moved slowly, like people who were very tired. Some made sad sounds in their strange languages. Dr. Kwan stood up and took Nara's hand. "Come on, little one. Let's go to our room." But Nari did not move. She kept looking at the crystal thing. Now that most aliens were gone, its colors were brighter. It seemed to move more freely, like it could finally breathe. "Papa, can I look at it closer?" Nari asked. "No, sweetheart. It's very important and very old. We must not touch it. I won't touch it. I just want to see." Dr. Kwan was tired from the long meeting. His head hurt from trying to understand alien words. "Okay, but just for a minute, and stay close to me." They walked closer to the crystal. Up close, Nari could see it was even more beautiful. The colors moved like dancing ribbons. Sometimes she thought she could hear very soft music coming from inside it. "It's trying to talk," Nari said suddenly. "What?" Dr. Kwan looked at his daughter with surprise. "The crystal, it's trying to talk, but nobody listens." Dr. Kwan looked at the crystal. He saw only a puzzle that had confused the smartest beings in the galaxy for thousands of years. Nari, it's just a crystal. It can't talk, but Nari was sure she could. Not explain how she knew, but the crystal was alive somehow. It was lonely. It had been trying to tell everyone something for a very long time, but nobody understood. "Come on," Dr. Kwan said. "It's time to go." As they walked away, Nari looked back at the crystal. For just a moment, she thought she saw it pulse with warm light, like it was saying goodbye. In their small room that night, Nari lay in bed thinking about the crystal. Outside the window, stars moved slowly past as the space station turned. She wondered why all the smart aliens could not solve the puzzle. Maybe they were trying too hard. Maybe they were thinking about it wrong. On Earth, when Nari played with puzzles, the hard ones were often simple once she stopped trying so hard. Sometimes, she had to stop thinking and just feel what the puzzle wanted. Maybe the crystal puzzle was the same way. Maybe it did not want to be solved. Maybe it wanted to be understood. As Nari fell asleep, she decided she would try to understand the crystal tomorrow. She would not use big words or fancy machines. She would just be friendly. After all, everyone needed a friend, even old crystal puzzles from dead aliens. The crystal, alone in its big room, pulsed with gentle light in the darkness, as if it somehow knew that tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, someone would finally listen. The next morning came too early for Dr. Kwan. He had stayed up late reading reports about the Vorthok cipher. His head hurt from all the big words and complex ideas. But Nari woke up happy and ready for a new day. "Papa, can we see the pretty crystal again?" she asked while eating her breakfast. "We will be there all day," Dr. Kwan said with a tired smile. "The meeting starts in 1 hour." Nari clapped her hands. She had dreamed about the crystal all night. In her dream, it had been singing a sad song, waiting for someone to sing back. They walked to the big meeting room again. Today, even more aliens. Some looked like walking trees or living metal. Dr. Kwan found their seats while Nari stared at all the different aliens. She was not scared anymore. They just looked different, like how cats looked different from dogs. The metal voice from the ceiling spoke again. "The 10,848th meeting will now begin. Today, the Rokoth will present their new theory, Stone Singer." The tall rock alien stood up slowly. His voice was like distant thunder. "We have studied the crystal's atomic structure," he said. Other aliens nodded and made sounds of agreement. They began talking about things Nari did not understand. Words like quantum entanglement and dimensional mathematics filled the air. Nari stopped listening to the words. Instead, she watched the crystal sat in the middle of the room, its colors moving slowly. Dr. Kwan whispered back, trying to pay attention to the meeting. "Like it's just a thing, like it doesn't have feelings." Crystals don't have feelings, but Nari was sure they did. She could see it in the way the colors moved. When the aliens used big words and cold voices, the crystal seemed to shrink into itself. The bug alien Vex stood up next. Its 6 arms moved as it talked. "We have built new computers," Vex said. "They can think 1 trillion thoughts per second. We have tested every possible combination of movements. The puzzle cannot be solved by any known method." As Vex talked, The crystal's colors became darker. The beautiful blues and greens turned to brown and black. It looked like the crystal was becoming sick. Papa Nari whispered, "The crystal is getting sad." "She," Dr. Kwan said, "I'm trying to listen." More aliens stood up and talked. They all said the same thing in different ways. They were very smart, they had great machines, they could not solve the puzzle. Each time they spoke, the crystal looked sadder. Finally, it was time for a break. The aliens got up and walked around. Some went to get food. Others talked in small groups, using words that sounded like music, or thunder, or wind. Dr. Kwan stood up and stretched. Nari nodded, but she did not really listen. As soon as her father walked away, she got up and walked closer to the crystal. The room was not empty. A few aliens still sat in their chairs, but they were busy reading or talking to each other. Nobody paid attention to one small human girl. Nari walked up to the crystal until she was very close. She could see her reflection in its smooth sides. The colors inside moved like slow lightning. "Hello," she said softly. The crystal's colors suddenly became brighter. The sad browns and grays changed to warm gold and soft green. "You can hear me, can't you?" Nari said. The colors swirled faster, like they were dancing. Nari smiled. "I thought so. The big people don't think you can hear them, but you can. That's why you get sad when they talk mean about you." The crystal pulsed with gentle light. Nari felt warm inside, like when her mother hugged her. "Why don't you talk back to them?" she asked. The colors moved in slow, sad circles. Nari thought she understood. "Oh, you do talk, but they can't hear you. They only listen with their big machines and computers. They don't listen with their hearts." She moved a little closer to the crystal, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes bright, sometimes dim. It was like watching a rainbow dance. Nari watched carefully. She did not understand the patterns, but she felt something. The crystal was not angry or mean. It was lonely. "You want to be friends," Nari said suddenly. "You want someone to play with you, not just poke at you with machines." The crystal blazed with beautiful light. Gold and silver and colors that had no names swirled inside it. For a moment, Nari thought she heard music, not with her ears, but with her heart. He was walking toward her with a worried look on his face. "I was just talking to the crystal," Papa Nari said. "You were what?" Dr. Kwan reached her and gently pulled her back from the crystal. "Nari, you can't just walk up to it. It's very important and very old." But Papa, it was talking back. "Look at the colors." Dr. Kwan looked at the crystal. The colors were indeed very bright and beautiful, much brighter than he had seen before. But crystals did not talk to little girls. "You have a big imagination, but this is serious science." Dr. Kwan led Nari back to their seats. As they walked away, Nari looked back at the crystal. Its colors were getting dim again, like a candle going out. "I'm sorry," she whispered to it. "I'll come back." The crystal pulsed once, with soft light, as if it heard her. The meeting started again. More aliens stood up and talked about the puzzle. They used bigger words and showed more complex pictures. The crystal got sadder and sadder, but something had changed. A few aliens near the crystal noticed that its colors were different. Something made it more active. The light, being bright, floated closer to the crystal. "Yes, I sense new patterns." What could have caused this? All the aliens began talking at once. They had new theories and new ideas. Maybe the crystal was finally ready to be solved. Maybe their machines had finally found the right frequency. But none of them thought to ask the small human girl who sat quietly in the back watching the crystal with understanding eyes. Dr. Kwan was excited too. Maybe the humans would get some credit if the puzzle was solved today. Maybe the other aliens would see that humans were not so primitive after all. Only Nari knew the truth. The crystal was not responding to machines or theories. It was responding to kindness. It was responding to someone who saw it as a friend, not just a problem to solve. As the meeting went on, Nari made a decision. She would find a way to talk to the crystal again. And complicated. The crystal pulsed softly in the center of the room, waiting for someone to understand that the answer was not in the puzzle. The answer was in the friendship. On the third day, the meeting room was full of angry voices. The aliens were fighting with each other about the crystal. Some thought they should use bigger machines. Kwan sat in his chair, listening to the arguments. His head hurt from 2 days of big words and complex theories. He wished he could help. Attention to the fighting. She was watching the crystal again. It looked very sad today. Its colors were almost all gray and black. What? Dr. Kwan looked at her, then at the crystal. Nari crystals don't get sick. This one does. Look how dark it is. It's sad because everyone is being mean. Dr. Kwan looked at the crystal. It did seem dimmer than yesterday, but that was probably because of all the scanning and testing that aliens were doing. The bug alien Vex was shouting at the rock alien Stonesinger. Your crystal minds are too slow. We need quantum computers to solve this puzzle. Stonesinger's deep voice rumbled back. Your machines think too fast. They miss the deeper patterns. The light being bright path floated between them. Aliens joined the fight. Their voices got louder and angrier. The crystal's colors got darker and darker. Nari could not watch any more. She got up from her chair. Where are you going? From all the angry voices, don't go far, Dr. Kwan said. He was trying to follow the argument between the aliens. Nari walked out of the meeting room. She could still hear the shouting through the walls, but it was softer here. She found a water fountain and got a drink. The water was cold and made her feel better. During their meetings, but what if she went to see it when they were not there? What if she could talk to it without all the angry voices around? Nari looked back toward the meeting room. The shouting was getting louder. Her father would be busy. Listening for a long time, she made a decision. She would go see the crystal by herself. Nari walked back toward the meeting room, but she did not go inside. Instead, she found another door that led to the crystal chamber. Would try to enter alone. The crystal chamber was quiet and peaceful. The crystal sat in the center, looking very sad and dim. Without all the alien voices around, the room felt different. Calmer, Nari walked slowly toward the crystal. Her footsteps made soft sounds on the smooth floor. Hello again, she said gently. The crystal's colors brightened a little, like a flower, turning toward the sun. I'm sorry they were shouting, Nari said. They don't mean to be scary. They just don't know how to talk to you. She sat down on the floor in front of the crystal. It was as tall as she was and very beautiful. Up close, she could see patterns in the colors that moved like slow water. My name is Nari, she said. What's your name? The crystal pulsed with soft light. Nari felt warm and happy, like when her grandmother told her bedtime stories. You don't have a name in words, do you? Nari said. That's okay. I had a pet fish once that didn't have a name either. I just called her Pretty because she was so beautiful. The crystal's colors swirled faster, like they were dancing. Nari laughed with joy. Pretty it is then, she said. For the next few minutes, Nari just sat and talked to the crystal like she would talk to any friend. She told it about her home on Earth, about her cat, about her favorite games. The crystal listened with colors that grew brighter and more beautiful. And sad. The aliens who made you, they're gone now, Nari continued, and all these new aliens just want to solve you like a math problem. But you're not a math problem, are you? You're a friend who's been waiting for someone to talk to. The crystal pulsed with warm light, as if saying yes. Nari stood up and moved closer. She could feel something strange. They swirled and danced in ways Nari had never seen before. It was like watching a rainbow tell a story. Nari watched carefully. She felt like the crystal was showing her something about its creators, the aliens who had made it long ago. They had been kind and gentle, not like the angry scientists in the meeting room. They loved you, Nari said suddenly. The aliens who made you, they made you to be a friend. The crystal blazed with brilliant light. Colors that had no names swirled inside it. And then something amazing happened. The crystal began to change shape, not breaking or melting, but flowing like water made of light. New sections appeared. Old sections moved to new places. The crystal was transforming itself into something new. Nari gasped and stepped back, but she was not scared. The colors were too beautiful and warm for fear. What are you doing, Pretty? She whispered. The crystal continued to change. Its shape became more complex, with new angles and surfaces that caught the light in wonderful ways. And as it changed, Nari began to hear something music. Not loud music, like from a radio, but soft music that seemed to come from inside her heart. It was the most beautiful sound she had ever heard. The crystal was singing. Oh, Pretty, Nari breathed. You're so beautiful. She had promised her father she would not touch it, but something inside her said it was okay now. The The crystal wanted her to touch it. Her small hand moved closer and closer to the singing. Dancing crystal dot, just as her fingers were about to touch its surface, she heard footsteps behind her. "Nari, what are you doing here?" He had discovered she was missing and had come looking for her. Nari turned around to see her father standing in the doorway. At the transformed crystal, "Papa, look what pretty can do," Nari said excitedly. But Dr. Kwan was not looking at the crystal's beauty. He was looking at its changed shape and thinking about what the other aliens would say when they found out his daughter had somehow made the ancient puzzle transform. "Nari, step away from it right now," he said in a serious voice. "But Papa, it's singing. Can't you hear it?" Dr. Kwan listened, but he heard nothing except the hum of the space station's machines. "Nari, please, come here right now." As she moved back, its colors began to dim again. The music grew softer. "I'm sorry, pretty," she whispered. "I have to go." The crystal pulsed once with sad light. Dr. Kwan took Neris's hand and led her toward the door. But as they reached it, alarms began to sound throughout the space station. The crystal's transformation had been detected by the station's sensors. Soon, every alien in the meeting would come running to see what had happened, and they would want to know how a human child had done something that their greatest minds could not do in 10,000 years. The crystal sat in the center of the room, still changed, still beautiful, still singing its lonely song. But now, for the first time in ages, it had hope. Someone had finally listened with their heart instead of their head. Someone had finally seen it as a friend instead of a puzzle, and that someone was coming back. The crystal was sure of it. The alarms kept ringing as Dr. Kwan pulled Nari away from the crystal. Red lights flashed on the walls. The sound was so loud it hurt Nari's ears. "Papa, what's happening?" Nari asked, covering her ears with her hands. "I don't know, Dr. Kwan," said But he was afraid. The aliens were coming fast. Vex, the bug alien, was the first to enter the crystal chamber. Vex clicked loudly. "The crystal has been altered. Who did this?" More aliens rushed into the room. Stonesinger's rock body made the floor shake with each step. Behind them came dozens of other alien scientists. They all stopped and stared at the crystal. It was still beautiful and bright, still slowly changing shape. But to them, it looked wrong, different, broken. "The energy readings are completely different," Brightpath said in its musical voice. "Something has disturbed the ancient patterns." Stonesinger's deep voice rumbled through the room. 10,000 years of study, and now someone has damaged the most important artifact in the galaxy. "Human," Vex said, pointing at Dr. Kwan with two of its arms. "We were just looking, just looking." Stonesinger moved closer. His stone face showed anger. "The crystal has been fundamentally changed. This is not from looking. These aliens could ban humans from the galaxy forever." "I talked to Pretty," she said in her clear, small voice. The room became very quiet. "That's the crystal's name." Right way, the aliens looked at each other. Some made sounds that might have been laughing. "Child," Stonesinger said slowly, "crystals do not talk. This is nonsense." Vex clicked. "The human child has damaged the crystal with some primitive technique." But as Vex spoke, something amazing happened. The colors inside it swirled faster and faster. And then, "The child speaks truth," the voice said. "I have waited so long for someone to see me as more than a puzzle." Every alien in the room froze. But now, something was clearly speaking to them. "Who?" Stonesinger asked. The crystal pulsed with warm light. "To wait for someone who could understand that intelligence without kindness is empty." The crystal's voice seemed to laugh. "Hello, little friend." Dr. Kwan stared at his daughter in amazement. She had done something that billions of alien scientists could not do, because she did not try to solve me, the crystal voice said. She tried to understand me. She offered friendship instead of analysis. They were thinking about what this meant. "Your people left this puzzle as a test," Brightpath said slowly. "Yes," the crystal replied. "We wanted to know if they had learned the most important lesson, that wisdom without compassion leads nowhere, and we failed the test," Stonesinger said sadly. The crystal's light touched Nari gently. The next few hours changed everything. The crystal, who said its real name was something that sounded like singing wind, began to share the secrets of the Vorthok people. "We will not simply give you our technology," the crystal explained. Technology without wisdom has destroyed many civilizations. She knows how to make friends, the crystal said simply. This made the aliens even more confused. Show them what it meant. First, it created holographic pictures in the air. The pictures showed the Vorthok people as they had been millions of years ago. They looked like tall, graceful beings made of light and crystal. But the most important thing about them was how they treated each other. We never competed, the crystal explained. We never tried to prove we were smarter than others. We worked together, knowledge freely. They showed schools where older Vorthok taught younger ones with patience and kindness. They showed scientists who celebrated each other's discoveries, instead of trying to prove who was smartest. This is impossible, Vex said. Every civilization competes. The strong survive. The smart rule over the less smart. And that, the crystal said sadly, is why most civilizations destroy themselves. Brightpath floated closer to the crystal. You're saying we've been thinking about intelligence wrong? Intelligence without kindness is just cleverness, the crystal replied. Cleverness can build weapons and walls. Smarter than each other, we forgot to help each other. Yes, the crystal said. This child did not try to be smarter than me. She tried to be my friend, and in doing so, she solved the greatest puzzle of all. Dr. Kwan looked at his daughter. With new eyes, she was sitting on the floor, drawing pictures with a crayon she had found in her pocket. She was not paying attention to the big conversation. To her, she had just made a new friend. That was all. But the aliens were struggling with these new ideas. They had built their entire civilizations on competition and proving who was smartest. How do we change? Brightpath asked. We have been this way for millions of years. The same way this child approaches everything, the crystal said. One small step at a time, one friendship at a time, one act of kindness at a time. But if we stop competing, how will we advance? How will we grow? Look at this child, the crystal said. She advanced our understanding more in 3 days than you did in 10,000 years. And she did it through friendship, not competition. Some aliens began to understand. Others were still confused and angry. For the first time in galactic history, the different alien races began to really talk to each other, not to prove who, but to learn from each other. And at the center of it all was a small human girl who had taught the galaxy's greatest minds that 6 months later, everything was different. Nari sat in a special chair in the Galactic Council chamber. It was small and comfortable, made just for her. Next to her sat the crystal, which she still called pretty. The crystal could now move around by floating, and it stayed close to Nari like a loyal pet. But Nari was not the same little girl who had first visited the space station. She was now the youngest member ever invited to join the Galactic Council. The aliens had created a new position just for her. Ambassador of Understanding. The Empire has a problem, Vex announced to the Council. The bug alien looked different now, less angry, more thoughtful. Our computers can calculate anything, but we cannot understand why our people are unhappy. Before, this would have started a long argument about which alien race had the best solution. But now, things worked differently. What do you think? Nari Stonesinger asked gently. Nari looked up from the small puzzle she was working on. Maybe your people need more than just smart computers. Maybe they need friends and fun things to do. Elaborate, Vex said, but not in a demanding way. The aliens had learned to ask for help instead of demanding answers. Well, Nari said, putting down her puzzle, when I'm sad, it's not because I need to solve a math problem. It's because I need someone to play with or something fun to do. Maybe your people need more time to just be happy. The crystal pulsed with gentle light. The child speaks wisdom. Happiness cannot be calculated. Over the months, Nari had helped solve dozens of problems that had puzzled alien civilizations for centuries. Not with complex theories or powerful machines, but with simple human understanding. When the Luminor complained that their shared consciousness was becoming chaotic, Nari suggested they needed some time to think their own thoughts. Sometimes I need quiet time away from everyone, she had said. Maybe your minds need that too. When the Rokoth said their crystal networks were becoming slow and inefficient, Nari asked if they ever played games. Games make thinking fun, she explained. Maybe your crystals are bored. Each suggestion seemed simple, even silly, to the advanced aliens. But when they tried Nara's ideas, they worked. Problems that had existed for thousands of years began to disappear. Dr. Kwan watched his daughter with pride and amazement. She had not just solved an ancient puzzle, she had changed how an entire galaxy thought about intelligence and progress. The Galactic Council now recognizes the Earth system as a full-member civilization, the metallic voice announced from the ceiling. Furthermore, we formally request that humanity establish teaching centers throughout the galaxy. This was the highest honor any civilization could receive. Humans, who had been barely tolerated 6 months ago, were now sought after as teachers and advisors, but the biggest change was not in how the aliens saw humans. It was in how they saw each other. The Threks and Roketh, who had competed for millions of years, were now working together on new projects. The Luminor had learned to value individual thoughts alongside their shared consciousness. Dozens of other civilizations were learning to cooperate instead of compete. "Pretty," Nari said to the crystal. "Are you happy now?" The crystal's colors swirled with joy. "I am more than happy, little friend. I am fulfilled. My people's greatest hope has come true, that someday someone would teach the galaxy that the greatest intelligence is not in solving puzzles, but in understanding hearts." Nari smiled and gently touched the crystal's surface. It was warm and smooth, like touching sunlight. Outside, the great windows of the space station, ships from hundreds of worlds came and went. But they were not coming for trade or treaties, or to show off their technology. They were coming to learn. To learn how a human child had looked at the greatest puzzle in galactic history and seen not a problem to be solved, but a friend to be made. To learn that sometimes the most advanced solution is the simplest one. To learn that in a universe full of incredible intelligence and amazing technology, the most powerful force of all is still a kind heart and an open mind. And in the center of it all, a small girl played with her crystal friend, humming a simple song that somehow contained all the wisdom the galaxy had been looking for. The song of friendship, the song of understanding, the song that could solve any puzzle if you just listened with your heart.